everybody. Coach Mel here in the studio today. How many podcasts have we filmed here, Josh? Is this our second, maybe third, fourth, Josh says? Welcome to Melfit headquarters. I am Coach Mel. As you heard on the intro, I do wear many hats. I should probably just sum it up in one snowball. I consider myself a health and fitness expert. I really do stay in my lane, and I feel comfortable talking about anything health, fitness, and lifestyle. That's what this podcast is about, is all things health, fitness, and lifestyle. If you are watching this, if you are listening to this, I encourage you to go on a walk if you can help it. If you're inside and you have a piece of equipment, get out and move your body. Today we have a very special guest, Isaac Cunnington from my Sushi Sensei. And we connected about a week ago, and I actually had told Isaac that I only had 30 minutes. We ended up talking for 3 hours. Isaac is my tribe. We had an instant bond, an instant connection, so much in common. His business sense, his drive, everything about him. You're going to hear so many amazing things. So hang on for the interview of a lifetime. We're going to kind of just let Isaac, I didn't really need to give him very much coaching or prompting on this podcast. He's a natural speaker, which is awesome considering the business that he's in. So welcome to the Melfit podcast, Isaac. We're going to start out with, and I kind of said this off camera, and you guys know this, our followers and listeners and watchers, is we like to make the podcast about 45 minutes to an hour to encourage people to move. So really take your time and tell your story. So tell us your backstory.
Yeah, so thank you so much for having me here. I'm really excited to be here. This is a lot of fun. I love everything that you're doing. And yeah, that meeting went from 30 minutes to 3 hours really quick. And it definitely didn't feel like 3 hours, which was the wild thing.
Yeah.
But so I'm Isaac. I own my Sushi Sensei, and we are a private chef service that teaches people to roll sushi at home. We focus on sushi education rather than bulk delivery, to give people the resources that they need to be successful creating sushi, so that they never have to settle for second-rate sushi. My backstory really for sushi started back when I was in college. My brother and I were going to college at University of Idaho, and he was working for an Asian fusion restaurant there, Red Bento, and I was broke, like flat broke. So when
How old are you?
I'm 29.
But how old
at the
were
time,
you?
We were, we had to be 23. What? Yeah.
What's the difference
23,
in age
22.
between you?
He was 22. I was 23.
Okay, so you're apart?
Yep.
Okay.
And then so he's invited me out to experience the world of sushi, as he called it. At the time, I didn't even like sushi, but he needed server training because he was getting in. He had to do he had this huge handbook that he had to memorize, which was wild. And I was like, okay, cool, sure, we'll go try all these different styles of sushi, even though I don't like any of it. And so we got there, and we're trying all the different styles and whatnot. And true to form, I didn't like a single one of them. But we finished it. We got through all of them, and we're like, this was great. This was great. We got to try all the different things. The deep fried one was the one for me. The deep fried avocado.
Exactly. My husband started out with the Las Vegas roll, of course. Man.
They called it a monkey brain, which was terribly disgusting, but it was so good. And that was the one thing I actually liked. But we got that bill back after he was done, and I was like, oh my gosh. At the time, it was like $100.
Which was a lot for sushi back then.
Which was insane, because I was a college student. I was spending like $100 a week on groceries. It was like top ramen most of the time, box mac and cheese on a good night.
Yeah.
And so when we spent $100 in a setting, I was like, this is insane. And so I was like, Jacob, how do we do this? How do we spend so much money on so little food? I'm still hungry, and I don't even like any of this. He's like, well, he told me 3 things. He told me you have to have the right rice, you have to have the right fish, and you have to spend 10 years training under a master before they'll even let you do it. And I was like,
for this company?
No, to do any sushi. And he was a little bit misinformed. To become a sushi master, you need to train under another master for 10 years.
Okay.
But to create sushi, anyone can make sushi.
Yeah.
And that's what I told him. I was like, no, come on. I could do this. There's no reason that we should be spending this much money on this little food. He's like, no, you couldn't. I was like, yes, I can. So I set out to prove him wrong. And that was where the genesis of my Sushi Sensei began. I went home, watched what felt like 1,000 YouTube videos, went into different restaurants, watched their chefs hone their craft. Eventually, I consider myself learned. I taught him, I taught friends, I taught family, I taught pretty much anyone and everyone who'd sit down and listen. And then, I mean, long story short, everyone got laid off first round of coronavirus, and I was among them. And I was like, well, what am I going to do for the rest of my life?
What field were you working in?
I was actually in education. So I was working for North Idaho College, and I actually got a job at Fisherman's Market, which was a local sushi restaurant. And because I was already doing it for fun, I was teaching classes, why not get paid to do it? Which, a terrible idea. Never do that. If you've got a passion, don't turn it into a job. Keep it as a passion.
What? I told Isaac in our 3-hour convo, everything I've ever been passionate about, every hobby I've ever had, I've turned into a business.
See, that's wild to me, is being able to take that and turn... I mean, I guess I did do it. I turned it into my Sushi Sensei. It was working in a restaurant that I didn't like.
Oh, okay.
We were working there, and then everyone got laid off, and we all thought, well, if this is going to be the new normal, we need to find something new. And I had just recently discovered that anyone could be an entrepreneur, not just the Donald Trumps of the world. And I was like, if there's ever a time to start a business, it's when you've been fresh laid off. And why not start a sushi business working in people's homes during a global pandemic? That's a solid move. Yeah, it was not super optimal, but we made it work, and I've been furiously slinging sushi ever since.
So it's been a couple years, 3 years?
We're coming up on our 3-year mark. We started unofficially. We started in 2020, and then got the LLC filed in 2021. We're really just doing it as a side gig. Got an event here, got an event there, and then really got serious in the last 6 months, and we're really pushing right now.
Who's we?
So right now we've got a 3-person team, technically 4, but it's myself, Jeremy Rainier. He's our other instructor. Molly Buell has been handling our social media and absolutely crushing it. So if you see anything cool on social media, that is not me. That's 100% Molly.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, Josh doesn't do our social media. I do.
Yeah, it's not my area of expertise. But then we've got Wyatt, who has been helping us out on the side. And we've got a ton of other people who have pitched in here and there, helped us with business stuff, helped us with sushi stuff, helped us with the actual education, and kind of brought all of this together. So you'll always hear me say we, not I.
I say we, right, Josh?
And that's really important to me, actually, is it's never a one-man show. There's always other people. For sure. I get that question a lot. They're like, who's we?
Yeah.
I don't see anybody else here.
Yeah.
It's like, well,
for sure.
Yeah. You can't do it by yourself.
And your we could also just be the people in your lives who support you and, want you to succeed.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's a huge piece of it, making sure that you've got that backing, so that you can go out knowing, hey, someone's got my back.
Yeah.
I can go out here and take this enormous risk, and know that if it does fail, which they do, that someone's got my back when I come.
Has anybody directly said to you that, do you think you're going to make it, or are you going to fail?
All the time.
How do you take that? How do you respond to that?
It's tough. And for me, it's kind of just, I'm going to do it because I said I'm going to do it. And when people say, well, aren't you worried? Yeah, you don't have your 401k ironed out. Where's your retirement coming from? It's like, yeah, I am worried all the time. And there are things that spring up that seem like little tiny blazes, and then there are raging forest fires. But in the end, you have to have faith in yourself, and you have to have faith in your people and your family, and faith in God. I don't know if that's something that you guys talk about, but
Absolutely.
it is something that's very important, and making sure that like you can't do it by yourself.
No, you can't.
So when people ask me, well, aren't you scared? Aren't you afraid? Do you think this is actually going to work?
Yeah.
I tell them, absolutely.
Yeah.
There's no doubt in my mind that we are going to tear the lid off the sushi industry.
I actually thank those people, because those are my driving force people, and they always have been in my mind.
It's so incredible. I guess this is an entrepreneur thing. I love to prove people wrong. Yeah. They're like, no, you can't do this.
I feel like the question comes from a person who's usually insecure. They actually admire you, although they're asking you doubtful questions. I feel like they admire you because you have the guts to take the risk. But so right now is probably a good time to go into like, how did you get from going to college? Did you get a degree? What's your background there? And how long did you practice that before you decided to be an entrepreneur? How did that affect the people in your life, i.e. your mother? I think I heard you talk about her.
Yeah, that's a bit of a wild story too. So my parents raised me I had one track. You go to school, get a degree, get a job with a pension, you work until you die happy. That's it. Right? And so, I mean, up until very recently, last 5 years, I was like razor focused. Boom. Went to school, did running start, went to NIC, graduated NIC, went to U of I, graduated U of I, record time. Not record time. I was pretty slow. But I like to tell people that. But I got in, got out as fast as I could. I didn't take any extra classes. I didn't do anything for fun. I just like focused. Because get in, get out, get that job, and get that pension. Yeah, get that pension going as soon as humanly possible, because that's how it builds and scales, and then you die happy. Woo. And so I went to school down at U of I, got my bachelor's of biology. Wanted to be a marine biologist since I was 4 years old.
Is that something that you could do? I know nothing about marine biology, but is that something you could do in this area, or would that have forced you to move?
Absolutely. You could not do that in this area.
Okay.
I mean, maybe you could.
Was that a draw because you wanted to be by the ocean, I'm assuming, or?
Yeah. So that was something that we grew up in. We grew up in Coeur d'Alene, but every summer we'd go over to the San Juan Islands off the coast of Seattle, and we'd spend the summer over there because my parents are both teachers. And so we'd go out there every summer, and it was just fishing and running around on beaches, picking stuff up, throwing it, rocks, sticks, the whole 9 yards. It was great. But it really cemented that marine biology in my mind that I was like, yeah, this is exactly what I want to do. So I got out of school. Obviously, I didn't go for marine biology because I was like, well, I'm in Idaho. Let's get something more realistic. Let's go biology, and then I can specialize later. So I got out of school, got a job working in Central Washington for the Grant County Public Utility District at the Wanapum Dam. So that was really cool. I was a hydro maintenance assistant, and we were gate well dipping to do tests on their new spillway that they installed. So we were scooping up smolt, pit tagging them, helicoptering them up above the dam, and then releasing them, and then seeing how many actually made it through the dam.
Oh, cool.
Whether it was getting eaten, whether it was getting killed by the dam itself. We were trying to figure out what the survivability was for this new spillway, or how it increased or changed. That was an interesting job, and I absolutely hated it. It was so cool. Like everything about that screamed Isaac, but it was a union job, which, I mean, union jobs, they're great. They do a fantastic job of taking care of their people, but it was more about finding work than it was actually about working. And it was it was just grating on my soul. They were like, Isaac, slow down. Isaac, stop. We're not going to get overtime if you finish this job too quickly. I want to get overtime. Everyone wants to get overtime. It's great. But it just wasn't for me. And so I bailed out of there after a year or after a season. And then I was like, well, if this is what jobs are like, I do not want to do this. And so I went back to the original dream, which was marine biology. So dropped everything, moved to Florida, and lived in Florida for 6 months, which was really fun. I had a friend who I grew up with who lived there, who let me crash in his little closet. I literally slept in a closet for like 3 months. It was great. This is
going to be a good story.
And then, I kicked around Florida, looked for jobs all over the place, couldn't find anything that really spoke to me, applied for a bunch of places. Turns out they like to hire Florida boys for marine biology jobs that have like marine biology degrees, not Idaho boys who have
Don't you love that?
Basic biology degrees who have never seen any of the
I see that
things
so many times. It's like, how are you ever going to get the experience if someone doesn't give you a chance?
Yeah.
And people are more, I think it's smarter to hire somebody and mold them into what you want them to be. I always hired people with zero experience, as long as they had customer service skills for the businesses that I was in, you know.
And they were coachable.
Yeah.
Like, hey,
for
this
sure.
is where we're headed. This is what I need you to do.
Yeah.
Like,
fast learners.
You got it, boss.
Yeah.
That's what I'm all about now. But yeah, I kicked around Florida. Couldn't find anything that really would work. I lived in Sarasota and then moved to West Palm Beach. Royal Palm Beach, but same difference. And then we hung out there for a while. I got a job as an intern with an aquarium, which was super cool. And I started teaching their touch tank shows, doing starfish and crabs and mollusks and all the other really cool things that you can find in the ocean, which was really fun. And it actually got me started on teaching, but I was burning cash fast because it was an unpaid position and I had to live somewhere and drive to and get to this place. I didn't have a car, so I ended up taking Ubers everywhere, which was fine, but I was just burning through my cash faster than I could possibly sustain. So I hit a point where I was like, you know what? I need to figure this out. I need to find something new. And so I was like, okay, well, final push, blanket everywhere, the entire state of Florida with applications. And it didn't go as well as I wanted. I got a couple of offers for jobs that were like, yeah, I shouldn't have applied to this. And then I actually got another internship in Costa Rica, where I was going to be a whale and dolphin tour guide assistant. So I was like, my Spanish is all right. It's not, if you want to know. It's terrible. So I was like, that seems like a really great idea. I had no clue where I was going. I had no clue who I was going to be staying with. I knew almost nothing, but I was like, let's do it. So I came back to Coeur d'Alene, hung out for about a month, and then went down to Costa Rica. Lived in Costa Rica with, what's his name? Can I remember for the life of me what her name? Her name was Sierra Goodman, but her business was Divine Dolphin. Divine Dolphin. She had a little mini resort there that she had closed, so she was just running whale and dolphin tours for locals and tourists, and she needed someone to help people on and off the boat, which is what I did. It was fantastic. If you haven't seen them before, whales are way bigger than you think they are.
Oh my gosh.
And dolphins are super fast. It was wild, just absolutely wild to be that close where you could like look down in the water. You're looking down 80
Scary.
feet, but not really scary.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, I should have been scared, but I wasn't. Ignorance or whatever. Ignorance is bliss. But we're looking like 80 feet straight down in the water, and you're seeing whales just like sleeping on the bottom, and you're like, it looks like I could reach out and touch them.
Oh, wow.
Like you dip your hand in the water. I was like, I don't know. It looks like you could touch them. You weren't allowed to get into the water around the whales. So we'd get into the water and just kind of swim around for lunch, after lunch or whatever. But you'd hear the whales. And that is wild. Absolutely wild. Totally 100% would go back just to sit in the water and listen to the whales again. It was something else.
What do you think of Costa Rica?
I loved Costa Rica, but I was a skinny white boy from northern Idaho with a high school level Spanish education and hadn't spoke Spanish since high school.
Do you remember what part of Costa Rica you were in?
Drake Bay.
Okay.
Drake Bay, which is ocean side, not Gulf side, and it was a jungle side of Costa Rica.
We've been quite a few times. We love Costa Rica.
Yeah, it was a exceptional experience, and if I had known a little bit more, I definitely would have done it better, but I didn't explore it all. I was kind of cloistered into this little jungle of Costa Rica. You could walk
because you didn't speak the language, you didn't explore.
Yeah, and it was like, I don't know what I'm doing here. I don't know who to talk to.
Had you been immersed in it, you would have picked it up.
Yeah,
for
and
sure.
that's what Sierra, the host, was telling me. She's like, you just got to get out there. Yeah. You just got to go do it. And I was like, okay, but I don't know.
And even if you just know a couple words. So.
Yeah, I was getting, and buying anything for me was, looking back on it, I was like.
The money is a little bit hard. Wasn't it colones?
Yeah. Yeah, I was getting scalped everywhere.
Yeah.
The gringo pricing's real.
You need my husband with you. So I didn't grow up with my dad. My dad's last name is Dominguez, Frankie Dominguez. So I started working in a Mexican restaurant when I was 19, and that's where I picked it up. And I remember the day that we were sitting having like a family meal after work, and I remember the day that I understood it.
Really?
Oh, yes. Like, it wasn't me trying to figure out and pay attention. It would literally, I just got it. I started dreaming in Spanish. I wrote my orders in Spanish. Oh, yeah.
That fascinates me.
Yeah. And
people who are bilingual, like dreaming in a different language.
Yeah, it was weird. My husband dreams in Spanish, and I'm not fluent like he is, but I can hold my own pretty good. For never having any formal training, and everything I've ever learned is just things that I've picked up. So I do well traveling because I know all the food words because the cooks didn't speak English. So that was good.
That's incredible.
So, how long were you there?
I was there for a month, and then it was supposed to be there for 6 months, and then a tree fell onto my hut, and we're like, well,
you were living in a hut?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh my goodness.
Was
there running water, bathroom?
Yeah. Oh no, it was very nice. Like, it used to be like a resort that people would actually go to. Thing? Yeah, a yurt. Yurt's a better way to put it. But it had screened sides, and it had a bathroom for me. I had a bed and whatnot. It was definitely very nice. But Idaho boy does not do super well with the humidity. So I didn't sleep for like a month straight.
Oh, I remember that. I remember we would get up and we would work out and we'd have to change our clothes. There was no reusing anything. Do you remember that?
Oh, absolutely.
Humid.
No way. Yeah. Like, I'd get up and put on swim trunks because I was already wet.
Oh, yeah.
Might as well get in the water.
Yeah. But honestly, some of the most beautiful oceans and beaches. And did you notice how clean it was?
I was really, really in the jungle house, but you're right.
It's hard to tell.
I didn't notice any trash anywhere ever.
Even if people had a shack there. So, okay, so then you come back to Coeur d'Alene?
Yep. Then I came back to Coeur d'Alene, started teaching in the Coeur d'Alene School District because, what else was I gonna do? I've always been an educator. So when I moved back home and got a job, and I started out just as a substitute teacher, which was awful. Ugh, I hated it. But I taught at every level in Coeur d'Alene. So I taught elementary school, special ed, elementary school, up to middle school. Taught Spanish in middle school.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, that was not good either.
But it's
those who can't teach, right?
Yeah, for sure. It's good experience, though, don't you think?
Oh, so good.
I look back on a lot of things that it's like, but that was your experience, you know?
Absolutely.
My sister's just starting a business, and she's like, should I do this for this price? I'm like, you should do it for free.
Yep.
Because you need the experience. I mean, when you'll know when you're worth that. But you got to get some, right?
Yeah.
You got to kind of earn it. We all got to start as a janitor.
Yep, absolutely. So then I got a full-time subbing job at Coeur d'Alene High School. which was better. I was teaching science. I was like in my element, teaching kids. It was fun. They were obnoxious. They didn't want to learn, which was really draining. But I was like, this is actually better. I enjoy going to work. That year was just wild. The Coeur d'Alene High School had some stuff go on, and if you're familiar with Coeur d'Alene High School in the last 10 years, you probably know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, for sure.
But that kind of threw a whole monkey wrench into everything. So I decided I didn't want to teach, not at the high school level, not kids. So I went to North Idaho College, got a job working prepping labs, which was great. Nighttime job, just dinking around. So then eventually I got a job teaching labs. So I taught Bio 101, which was fantastic. I really enjoyed it. The kids there, because they are kids, doesn't matter how old they are, they were better. They engaged, they listened, but they still weren't really there. I cared more about their education than they did. And that's when you're pouring your soul into this and people are just like, yeah, I got to see I'm good. You know, I'm not even going to answer. I know I got these first 8 questions right. I'm not even going to answer the last 2. And
Josh watches me do my check-ins, and it's, you know, it can be very disheartening sometimes.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely.
And it's like those people are the people that need it the most.
Yep.
You know, and they're just like, whatever, you know.
And the crazy thing for me was with college, the amount of effort that you put in on the front half totally changes your entire trajectory on the back half.
Yeah.
Like the entrance exams, people not studying for those stupid entrance exams. I would watch kids go from high school taking like pre-calc and then not study for an entrance exam, butcher it, and then have to go back into remedial math and add like a year and a half to their NIC experience.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my gosh, if you just studied a little bit,
Yeah.
you would have totally saved yourself thousands of dollars and years of your life.
Yeah. If it's worth doing,
like,
it's worth doing, right? I always say,
yeah.
if you're half-assing this, what else are you half-assing, you know?
Yeah.
And the one thing I'm not down with is excuses. Like, there's no other way to describe an excuse but an excuse, right?
Absolutely.
There's no other way. So.
And that was a big thing for me. Like getting into the entrepreneur life is nobody's gonna come save you. Like you either sink or you swim. Yeah. And if you aren't putting in the effort, which I wasn't for a long time, I had to learn all this the hard way.
At least you admitted it.
Oh, it gets kind of hard to admit, but
it's hard to admit,
really
right?
good to hear, like, for someone like you. This is why we had a 3-hour conversation, is because you're like a real human being that is an entrepreneur, that we totally have the same mantra and the same, not experiences, because everyone's experiences are different, but hearing your story, I was like, oh my gosh, there's so many things that click with mine. And to hear that, all of the things that I'm going through and that I've been through, they aren't unique. Most entrepreneurs go through the exact same thing. It's important. And to say that, I don't have any flaws, I don't have any faults, I never struggled ever is a lie.
Well, it's easy to be at the top and talk about it, but nobody wants to talk about the struggle to get there. I think I tagged you in a post the other day, and I talked about how I used the money from the sale of my last business to pay him. For how long, Josh? I was making no money. I mean, I was, luckily you and I both have that in us, like that never give up, that never quit, so personal training business. And I flew down there because I'm a life coach, and if you're listening to this, Mel, I say this with love, and I say this to help other people that are thinking this. She mentioned, oh, well, if this doesn't work out, I can always work at one of those places where they hire you. And I just about lost my shit.
Yep.
I was like, wait, what? First of all, I flew down here to help you. I'm giving you all my knowledge. I'm helping you with all the things I failed at. I'm giving you the best advice you're ever going to get. And you're doubting yourself? Like that, no, that's not an option.
Yeah.
And if your studio is not full, your butt better be sitting over here at this desk figuring out how to fill it up. Mm-hmm. And the one thing that I said to her, and I know it stuck with her because she's repeated it to me. Yeah, I know. No one's going to come knocking on my door asking me if I'm a personal trainer. And I said, yes, you're right. Yep. And I think maybe some people think I'm over the top with my advertising. I always have MelFit stuff up. I'm always giving my magazines out. It's like closed mouths don't get fed. Like, we got to pay our bills here. Mm-hmm. How is anybody going to hire you if they don't know what it is that you do? And there's nothing wrong with telling people what you do. And if you tell people what you do, you're passionate about it. But Mel, you are not working for anyone else. This is it. This is right.
Absolutely.
So,
and
that
I love
doubt, that thought, like I just was like, no, that mindset has to go. Like, this is it.
So I actually learned that exact same lesson the hard way. So after I got done teaching at NIC, I was working at NIC and back and doing sushi at the same time because NIC wouldn't give me full time because then they had to pay me benefits. So I needed to fill the gaps. So I got a job working at Fisherman's Market and then got laid off then. That's where the whole sushi story takes off. But it was at that point that I started to dabble into entrepreneurship. And I was like, whoa, wait a minute. You're telling me anyone can do this? This is incredible. I'm going to absolutely, this is like everything that I hoped and dreamed since I was 6 years old. I went absolutely hog wild. I started 3 businesses like almost immediately. Had no idea what I was doing. But I was like, well, let's start. My goal was 5 businesses in 5 years. Fail fast, fail forward, figure out what doesn't work, and then keep moving. And which was great. But in doing that, I didn't put enough time into any one of them. I was like, well, if this one doesn't work, this one's going to. And if this one doesn't work, this one's going to. I had backup plans on backup plans on backup plans. And I was spending time building out those backup plans to make sure that if this one didn't work, that I was gonna have something to fall onto. And then I realized, well, actually a lot of people told me, they're like, you can't do that. I was like, watch me. You can't do that. There's too much stuff going on. And when you don't commit to it, you'll always have that out. So there was I don't even remember when it was, 2020 sometime, when I was like, all right, I'm done working for other people. I'm going to not work on any other businesses, which hasn't really worked, but I've tried. And I was like, I am officially in entrepreneurial freefall. There is no net. There is no backup plan. There is no this, that,
That's
the other.
what was holding you back.
Mm-hmm. And
Mel, there is no backup plan.
It made
ever.
all the difference. It did.
There can't be.
When you've got something that you know is going to catch you, do I really want to go to that networking meeting? Do I really want to hop on and do my social media post for today?
On 8 different platforms every single day for years.
Yeah. When you don't have that net, everything seems like life and death. And when you're in, I like to call it entrepreneurial freefall, that ground's coming up real quick. You need to slow it down. And you got to pull that cord and you got to start flying. Because either that or you're going to hit the ground. And for me, I don't like being embarrassed. And so there was no option. Once I took away all of my backup plans, there was no other option. You sink or you float.
Yeah.
And
do you know what's so interesting though is we're also afraid of admitting that we weren't making it or admitting that we're struggling now or admitting that we're doing well. I really think that people respect transparency and the story. Like the people I follow are the people that were sleeping, in closets and, Andy Frisella at First Form, who says he's going to be the next Nike. I mean, I think he said for 10 years he was sleeping in his supplement store, him and his brother. I mean, I think they were barely making $800 a month. So isn't that what you're drawn to?
I mean,
The
I don't
story?
know. Like, yeah, the story is really what brings it all together. Like, you can see the individual pieces, but until you hear the story, it doesn't actually connect the dots. And people can be like, yeah, I'm doing all right. Or, I mean, you look on anyone's Instagram, Facebook, they're all like, wins, we're winning over here.
Yeah.
Come join us. We're doing all these great things.
Yeah.
But that's rarely ever the truth.
Yeah.
People are struggling. Like right now, I'm struggling.
See,
We're figuring it out all day, every day.
I think that
grind.
when you admit you struggle, you'll attract people who maybe have, failed a few more times than you, and then they can actually kind of mentor you a little bit. And like I'm doing with a lot of my clients and my sister, it's like, we've already done that. Like, let's not, I say this to Josh all the time, let's not reinvent the wheel here. Like, we know this works. We know this works. So I think that if you aren't transparent with people when things are bad, then you're doing yourself a disservice, because I think ultimately a good entrepreneur really wants to help someone. I used to have this guy who's a multimillionaire client, and him and his wife were my clients. And whenever he worked out, I had my pen on the whiteboard. What do you think I was talking to him about? And then his wife would come in and say, he should really charge people for that. I go, but he's not, because he was me once. Here I am working, training 20 clients from 5:30 in the morning till 5:30 in the afternoon. I have an hour and a half break. I'm burning the candle at both ends. And what am I doing? I'm spending my time with this man for 25 minutes, soaking up everything and there was other entrepreneurs as well, right? But he wanted to help me because I admitted I needed help. I admitted that this isn't the only place I'm going to go. I'm not always going to be here training 20 people. Like, there's something greater than this. So I love that. So, anything else? Good time for a question or anything?
I was going to say that I think that was pretty much the end of I bailed out of Sushi. And you talked about when you thought you should get paid. Like, you'll know when you should get paid. And my moment, it was very, very distinct. We went, I used to live with my buddy Jeff, and he was trying to schmooze this girl over in Spokane Valley. Up until that point, it was all friends and family events. I'd never really done it for strangers. It was 4 people, 6 people max. And so when he's like, hey, I want to do a sushi event. I want to do a sushi event over in Spokane. We're going to go impress this girl. It's going to be great. I was like, oh yeah, let's do it. And so we go over, and there's 12 people, which at the time, astronomical.
That's a lot.
There's no way. I was like, Jeff, I can't do this. And he's like, come on, it'll be fine. Just do it. And so I was like, yeah, sure. Why not? So I get there with all my hacked together supplies, because I wasn't serious at that point. We put the whole thing together. We're eating off paper plates, and it's like, oh, it was terrible. We ate everything, like all the rice, all the veggies, all the fish, everything, down to the nubbins. And I was like, oh my gosh, I shorted us on every single aspect. Like, this was a terrible event. And then we get done, like, this was so awesome. I had the greatest time, yada, 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 yada. And so we're just hanging out afterwards. And the lady who owned the house came up to me. She's like, this was just the coolest experience. And I was like, thank you so much. She's like, how much do you usually charge for this? And I was like, well, I don't really charge people because I love sushi, because then I had finally started actually liking it after teaching it for like 3 years. I love sushi. I love to teach. And this is kind of the perfect hybrid of the two. So as long as you pay for the ingredients, I'll love to come out and do it. And she's like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. I totally would have paid like $800 for this. And I was like, what? Mm-hmm. Come again? Mm-hmm. And then, I mean, it was short notice. Got laid off like a couple weeks later. And I was like, I wonder if she was serious. Maybe. maybe I could turn this into a business. So then I kind of put together my ideas, put out an ad, got a gig. I was like, oh, this is crazy. Put out another ad, got another gig. I was like, okay, hang on. we need to take a step back. There are probably some business things that I'm not understanding that I need to do. There was lots of them. But that was really how it got started.
And the one thing about you, though, just because you have a trade that's marketable into a business doesn't mean you're a good businessman or woman.
Oh, absolutely not. And in fact, that actually is a detriment. If you don't know how to do the service that you provide, you will have to figure out how to make it work, how to make the business work. If you can do the dishwashing and the sushi rolling and the advertising and the marketing and the this, that, the other, if you're an entrepreneur, you're going to try. And for years now, I've shortchanged myself trying to build my own website because I don't want to pay the money to have a professional do it. I'll just figure it out and do it myself, which is great. But if you need a professional looking website that works, have a professional do it. It's Josh why they do what they do. Yeah. And that, I mean, for me, it was like watching a light switch go off. It's like, no wonder all that advertising that I've been doing hasn't been working because I don't know what I'm doing. And I'm throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks and nothing's sticking. And I'm like, well, it's just the worst business in the world. I can't do this. I'm going to fail. For sure. Yada, yada, yada. Yeah. And then I'm like, oh, it's because I wasn't hitting Facebook's algorithm of 80 billion posts on Tuesdays and 46 billion posts on Wednesdays. No posts on Thursdays. And then on Fridays, we wear pink. Yeah, we wear pink. I butchered that. What is it? Is it on Tuesdays we wear pink?
I think you're right.
That would have been great.
My biggest thing is when we first started, Isaac, I knew nothing about the rules of the paid ads. And to this day, I think it's bananas that I could take a picture of myself with pasties on, put myself on the main page, but I can't put a before and after picture of my client, which is what people want to see, proof of success. Yeah. So right off the bat, we got shut down on paid ads. And to tell you the truth, Josh and I looked at the paid ads. They weren't even ads with people in bare midriff, right, Josh? Like, we couldn't figure out why. We literally have never been able to advertise and do sponsored ads. I will never give up. So I try to figure out, okay, what if we wake up one day and this great source of advertisement is gone? I'm not building my house on leased land. So therefore, we have Melfit Healthy Times. Hard copy and digital. If you're listening to this, click on the link in my bio. If you want a hard copy, download the Melfit app for 7 days for free. I'll buy you this magazine, which costs us what? $325, $350, and you pay the shipping. Also, I started getting into billboards. If you have not thought, is this a new? Yeah, that's a new edition. Yeah, you gotta get yours.
Excellent. Yeah, I'm excited.
So, Isaac has a really cool flyer too. We'll need some stuff from you. We'll include some pictures and
Absolutely.
stuff. We'll either steal it or you can give it to us. But yeah, I get that. I so get that. But one thing that and it's really scary, is I personally have noticed on a business level and a personal level that the more people I bring in to help me, Ben Tran with my logo. By the way, Ben, this guy's logo is the fishes. I think it's kind of interesting that you're a marine biologist and that you got into sushi. It's kind of cute.
Yeah, that was kind of I don't know how that happened. Maybe it's the fish thing, but like, I don't think so. I was never even into eating fish. Like, even to this day, like cooked fish, that's not my cup of tea. But let me tell you, you give me some good Atlantic salmon.
Yeah. Oh, I love salmon. So, I'm going to ask you some fire questions. Where are we at, Josh, for time?
We're at 45 minutes.
Ooh, we're at 45 minutes. Okay, so let's
time
fire. Who do you think your customer avatar is?
So, we specialize in creating sushi experiences. Our customers are people who are tired of the same old, going to a restaurant, waiting for your server to butcher your order, listening to that kid cry across the restaurant. They're looking for something different. They want to, they know that they like sushi, or maybe they don't know that they like sushi. I love to work with people who have had a bad experience and they're like, no, I can't do sushi.
Yeah.
Because 85 to 90% of them who come into my class leave with, if nothing else, that wasn't that bad.
I love it.
And most of them come in, I don't do fish, I don't do raw fish, I don't do anything. And they'll be like, no, this was great.
That's awesome.
But we focus on creating experiences that are educationally driven so that people can better understand this culinary experience, this art form, all in one, and creating something that's not only looks good, it tastes good, and you did it yourself. And it's getting that rounded knowledge that I found people are so about. We are absolutely crushing it on our reviews because we've created something that people love, and it's experience driven, educationally based, and it's really, really fun.
Yeah. Would you rather go out with 6 friends or have 6 friends come to your house and be taught by Isaac? Like most of our friends, a couple of them are chefs and we like to cook, but we also like the experience rather than just sitting somewhere. So you get together with friends at a restaurant. How long does that last? If you get together at your house, you're together for several hours. And is it okay if I mention that you're possibly considering virtual?
Absolutely.
Okay, so if you're listening to this or watching this from somewhere else in the world, Isaac is dipping into virtual, which is so cool. So you could actually invite your friends over and he could virtually teach you. And that's the one thing that I'm so happy with about Melfit, and I still get calls to this day, is God, you can reach so many more people online. And people to this day, can I meet? We're going to have a call. Well, have you ever heard the saying when a 15-minute call could have been an email? Like, time is everything. It's not just time is money, but also time is my life experience, Yeah. I'm at a point in my life where I'm actually, starting to enjoy my life. I didn't even watch TV for 20 years. Like, all I've ever done is grind. So the experience at this point in my life, and I know a lot of the viewers, is super, super important to me. Yeah. My health, there's so many things that tie into this. So,
and when you talk about experiences, like when you go to a restaurant, you're gonna eat food. It's gonna be good for the most part. Yeah. Most people don't have a bad restaurant experience. Then you go home and then everyone's gone. Yeah. For us, we teach a 2-hour sushi course that covers all the tools and tricks of the trade, covers sashimi, nigiri, traditional rolls, and specialty rolls. And this is an experience that you and your friends are going to remember for the rest of your life. I guarantee it. Because it's completely unique. And it's something that most people have wanted to learn, but never really known where. There's a billion different videos online. There's other chefs that teach sushi classes, but we really focus on curating that experience that has been the missing link for sushi for people.
I love it. I'm super excited. I'm having Isaac do my birthday party for my twin sister and I. We're super excited. So where do you see yourself 5 years from now?
That's a great question. So, I would like to become a serial entrepreneur. I'm making great efforts. I've always been an entrepreneur. I didn't know when I was a kid, and it was never really encouraged. I was always told that they were get-rich-quick schemes, but I've got lots of entrepreneurial prowess, and I'm really just getting started. I'm learning all of the things that I should not be doing the hard way by smashing my face into walls.
That was the other question I was going to ask you, so that rolls right into that one. We had to throw that in there. I know
terrible.
we're dorks.
Yeah, and if you guys take my class, there's a billion of those. So if you don't like puns, don't do it. Don't take my class. It's gonna be awful, and I love it.
I think, Isaac, post-COVID, everybody just needs a good laugh.
Yep.
I mean, that's what we all need. I mean, it's like there are so many crazy things going on in the world. Just to spend a couple hours, if you're, living in a world of craziness, just to laugh and just have fun. So what's the hardest thing you've ever done? Is my sushi sensei the hardest thing you've ever done?
Yeah, it is, because it's not that the jobs are super difficult. The classes are, the class isn't even a job for me. Doing the experiences, it's so invigorating. It's doing all the other things that I don't know how to do and figuring out, oh yeah, that's why your advertising wasn't working, because you were doing it completely wrong. And just having to learn those lessons and then make those changes and then go out and do it again. And God, I've failed so many times, it's not even funny. Just, all right, go try this. It didn't work. Go try this again. It didn't work. Change this. Go try it again. It still didn't work. And just to get that repetition of getting your teeth kicked in over and over and over again is super hard and super defeating. But man, when you finally find the way to thread that needle, oh man, is it rewarding.
Yeah.
Holy Moses. Like, they talk about the highest highs and the lowest lows you'll experience, and it's all because of being a business owner and that entrepreneurship. It's a roller coaster, like, on the daily.
Absolutely.
And they are not joking. Like,
yeah.
the highs are indescribable, and the lows are just like death.
I get it.
Ugh.
We get it, right, Josh? Yeah. But I always tell my clients too, it's okay to get kicked, but you better reach your hand up and ask for help, and you better get your damn butt up. Never give up.
Absolutely. And the faster you can fail, the better. Like, and that's what I've learned is you should lean into those. Like, when you hit a wall and you're like, I don't know what I'm doing anymore. I don't know. It happens to me all the time. Lean into it.
Yeah.
Find where you're failing. Fail faster.
Yeah.
But fail better.
Yeah.
Understand, hey, this is what I did wrong. And 100% ask for help.
Yeah.
You'll find other people out there. For me, it was networking groups.
Yeah.
I'd go to networking groups and be like, hey, I don't know what I'm doing. I need help. And then you should have seen people come out of the woodwork. Hey, I would love to help you. Let's get you ironed out on this. Let's get you ironed out on that.
It's
and
not
they've made all the difference.
It's not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of strength, in my opinion.
Yeah, it takes a lot to be able to admit that you don't know what you're doing, but it's so important. It's so important.
What's your favorite quote or saying?
Ooh. So, I'm going to butcher this because I butcher it every time. Motion is different than movement. Motion feels good. It's waving your arms around. It's making a lot of noise, but it's not getting you to your goals. Movement is painful. It's picking up your feet. It's taking that step forward, and it's what actually pushes you towards that goal. Don't mistake motion for movement.
That's a good one. I love that. What's the best
I think that's an Isaac original.
Is it?
I think so.
Let's do that.
Like, I don't know if I saw it somewhere.
I like it.
I'm like,
I like it.
Isaac.
I love it. It's so true. I mean, there is a difference between busy and working.
Oh my gosh. That's the craziest thing.
It's like
80-20 principle.
Busy. You could stand there. I could stand there and busy work, but what am I doing? Am I moving?
I think it's Pareto's law.
Yeah. Yeah.
What is the 20% of stuff that actually makes things happen?
Yeah.
And what is the 80% of just moving?
Do you know how many hours Josh and I work a day?
I'm afraid. Like, there's only 24. So you can't be working more than that.
5.
What?
Do you want to know why?
Because you figured out what the 20% is and you spend 5 hours doing it?
Yeah. 3 of it's busy work.
Really?
Just to fill up the clock, just to stay here for 8 hours. What if we knew that we had to get our work done in 5? How much more successful? How much more productive? Don't you think, Josh, we're way more productive working 5-hour days than 8?
God, what if you told yourself, I don't work Fridays. Get your 4 days done. Get your 5 days done in 4 days.
Not to say that in the beginning we weren't working a lot to create our app and our plans, but yeah, that's...
I was going to say, how much did you work to get to this point?
Oh, my Manta.
There we go.
I mean, honestly, my best-selling meal plan, it sells for $4.49. It took us 1,000 hours. We were living next door. We would film 3 videos a day. Do you know what goes into creating that? Do you know what goes into creating a recipe? I create it. We get the ingredients. We write the recipe. We put it in MyFitnessPal, and we have a barcode. Why do we have a barcode?
To make it easier for other people.
So that we can scan it in our store.
Yeah.
Melfit will be in all major grocery stores in less than 10 years, mark my words.
You heard it out loud.
Yeah,
somebody hold her to that.
I say it all
I'm
the time.
going to.
So, yeah, we were doing a workout video, and then we would go upstairs and film 2 cooking videos. Yeah, we earned the 5 hours. But the time that we're not working, we're thinking about it, right, Josh? A lot of times Josh comes in and he's like, okay, I was thinking about something over the weekend. So what's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Don't quit is a really good one. Don't quit. When you think that you're at the end of your rope, tie a knot and hold on, because it's never as dark as you think. The chasm is never as deep as you think. The water, actually, you can totally stand if you just stand up. And for most people, they get that initial hit and they're like, yeah, I don't want to get hit in the face again. I'm out. Let's go work for something super secure. Let's get that 401k with the benefits, which for some people is totally what they should be doing. For entrepreneurs, if you're serious about it, don't give up. Don't let anybody tell you you're wrong. Listen and be coachable. Mm-hmm. But if you know, and this is the way, don't let them tell you no. Don't let anyone tell you no. Absolutely keep going, pivot, persevere, shift gears, do what you need to do. Make it work, but don't ever give up.
So that's kind of rolls right into what's the best piece of advice you've ever given. Would you say that's it? Or is there something else? I can tell you what my answer, because you gave me advice, but you go first if you want to go first.
Yeah, I think that'd be a really good one. Do your research is the piece of advice that I wish I could go back and give myself. Mm-hmm. Like when you think you're done, do more. Mm-hmm. You're about halfway.
Yeah, for sure.
And because I can't not tell you how many of the first 3 businesses that I started, that were just lack of research. Mm-hmm. Man, did I get scalped because I did something really stupid, thinking, this is the newest thing in the world. No one's ever done this. Yeah. There's nothing new under the sun. Yeah. Go figure out who's done it before. Yeah. Learn from them. Yeah. And then do it better than them.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you gave me a piece of advice, and that's what I like talking about you. It's like I can add, water to the pot, but you added a lot of water to my pot as well. And that's why I spent 3 hours with you. Also, you were really transparent and you touched on something that's been very painful for me. And it's that saying, give away everything you sell and everybody will buy everything you sell. And that's still painful for me, but I know it's true. I know I have to do it. Mm-hmm. And when I asked you about your virtual classes, at first you were talking about, they would just be out there, they would be free, that kind of thing. So that was a really, really good piece of advice. And I always worried about that. And then the hard question you asked me is, what makes you different than anyone else? And it's so true. Sushi's been done before. Mm-hmm. Personal training's been done before. Yep. Being a chef has been done before. Being a nutritionist has been done before. That's a tough question, and that was a really good question. And you're absolutely right. It's not what I'm doing, it's how I'm doing it. And that I'm doing it with passion, and I'm making it about the people, not about the money. And the money does flow freely after that. That's the best
And
advice
that's
I
what
ever got from
literally everyone says. They're like, focus on your service, focus on your product, focus on this, focus on that.
Yeah.
And let the money come when it comes.
And people will sense that. I really think,
Yeah.
you know, they don't want to buy from somebody that is all about the money.
You know what I heard the other day? Is someone described it as having salesman breath.
Yeah, for sure.
When you've got salesman breath, it doesn't matter what you're saying.
Yeah.
You smell like salesman. Yeah. And that I try really hard not to do that anymore. Where I'm like, you should buy a sushi event because it's going to be the best thing that your friends have ever done. You're going to be on their list of top people forever because remember that one time we went over to Mel's house and she did sushi? That was wild. I cannot wait to do that again. No. Say, let's educate people. Let's help them better understand sushi. And that made all the difference in the world to me.
So I heard this thing the other day. Josh and I are, we're trying to work with the tribes. We have a campaign called Melfit for the Tribes. And I ran my speech by a member of the Coeur d'Alene tribes. And the one advice she gave me is I kept saying, you need. And she said, they don't need to be told anything. And a good way to turn that is, how can I help?
Yep.
So that can be applied to any business. How can I help you, create this community and unity with, let's say it's for work. If they're doing, what do they call that? What did you say you just did for the job you just posted? What did you call it? Like a business, it wasn't a retreat, but what's the word I want to use?
It was a team building event.
Team building, yeah. So, I'd love to help you with Melfit do a team building event. That's instead of saying you need, right? And I'm still learning that. That was like 2 months ago. So the wording and the way that you say things and the way that you pitch your business, it can you can either have word vomit, which we've all done, or you can, and I was telling Isaac, the hardest thing in the world is if you saw Melfit on my vest and you tapped me on the shoulder at Starbucks, or maybe you didn't touch me because of COVID, but if you said, hey, what is Melfit? I think that a lot of times your description right off the bat was so perfect about your business. I still struggle with defining what Melfit is. I really do. And trying to define, okay, this person's behind you. You're up to order next. You got 30 seconds to tell this person what is Melfit. So I think just practicing that word vomit over and over and over. And then one time you just go, oh, that sounded really good.
100%. The book that got me really focused on it, because I love books. Book Yourself Solid.
I wrote that down in my notes.
By Michael Port. He talks about it in the book. Your sales pitch shouldn't be a sales pitch. It should be you being passionate about what you do. For me, I love to teach and I love sushi, and creating experiences for people who are tired of just more stuff is that's it. That's it for me. We create sushi experiences for people who are tired of the restaurant.
I love the word experiences. Post-COVID, we all lost our freaking souls.
Yeah, right.
The word experience to me, I'm all in.
And I don't know about you, but being locked in my house, I realized just how much stuff I have. This just stuff.
Did it matter?
And you're like, okay, I got all of this stuff that I need to move over here and move it to this storage unit so I can pay to store the stuff that I don't want to see every day.
Yeah, I can understand minimalistic mindset. So
I totally do now too. I was like, oh,
Steve Jobs.
God, can you imagine if I only had one fork? Mm-hmm. Yeah. I cannot because
my husband gets dressed every day. He has a dozen Iggy's Concrete t-shirts, and I see him in the mudroom every day looking for a shirt. and I said, do you know who Steve Jobs is? And he's like, yeah, that guy that wears a black t-shirt and the new Levi's. I said, how much time did he save wearing that uniform?
Yep.
I said, put on the Iggy's Concrete t-shirt, which is professional, which then people understand why this Mexican's in their backyard, and go with it. Like, right? It just makes it easier. So,
yeah, right.
If you haven't already said this, Isaac, what's the one thing you can share that most people don't know about you?
I don't know. That's a good question. I'm a pretty open book.
You're a pretty open book, and this might help you too, is what are your 3 best character traits, and how do you think these help you in business? That might correlate with something that you can share.
One thing that I guess you could say that most people don't know about me is I don't know what I'm doing most of the time.
Oh, at least you know.
and so when I seem like I'm really put together, it's because I'm faking it till I make it.
Yeah, good.
Which if you haven't done that, for those of you out there,
I've done
fake
it
it till you make it is so important.
Everything's figure-outable.
Like, you can totally do it. You can totally figure it out. You can figure out how to do sushi. You can figure all this stuff out. And if you're gonna charge people, you better know. Like, you better have your stuff ironed out. But until you get there, absolutely, this is how it's done for this and this reason. I can't tell you how many times that I told somebody something, and then before I was like actually in business, and then I had to come back and be like, hey, yeah, that didn't make any sense. This is how it actually is, because I actually went and did the research on this, and this is why it is. But you have to get there through doing something, and I never would have learned that I was making a mistake until I made it. So making the mistakes, faking it till you make it, it's an important part of the process.
So what are your 3 best character traits? And how do you think these help you in business?
I think that my charisma is my best character trait. It's my superpower. I have the ability to exude charisma and get really excited about the things that I'm working on. For sushi, that's what we do in our experiences, is we just get really excited about sushi. And I'm going to teach you some really cool stuff. You've seen it in restaurants before, but I'm going to teach you how it's done. I'm going to show you why those rolls came apart when you picked them up with your chopsticks, how you hold your chopsticks. Like, for most people, got a passion is so rare.
Do you think so, really?
I do. Like, when you talk to people, they're just like, yeah, this is what I do. It's great. And for people who are like actually passionate about it, you can tell it comes off them as an aura, and it's infectious. And that's what I try and be. I try and get in there and just dive in. It doesn't matter what you do. Be passionate about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Go and learn. Be a student, a forever student, and just say, well, I'd love to learn about fitness. And God, I would love to learn about nutrition. That was why I reached out to you originally. I was like, God, sushi, nutrition, it's there. I know what it is. I know there's something there. We got to make it work. I need to find someone who knows and who does, who can like bring all of these pieces together, and we can teach a sushi nutrition class.
I love it.
Because sushi is so good for you.
Yes. We scheduled this podcast, and when the cameras go off, we're going to make a Melfit roll. I'm super excited.
It's going to be incredible.
I love it. So
My brain's spinning.
What's that?
My brain's spinning up already.
And we have to make Josh one without
Absolutely.
shrimp because he's allergic. What advice can you give our listener about not going the normal college route and starting your own business?
College isn't for everybody. You need to understand what it is that you actually want to do, what drives your passion, what you can really get behind. Because if you're not passionate about it, it's just going to be a job, and it's going to burn you out.
What does your mom and dad think? Like,
oh, they were terrified when I first got started. Okay, Isaac, we support you in doing this. Yeah. But when you're done doing this whatever you're doing, you need to go find a pension job. And work until you die.
Have they realized, Mom, if you're listening to this, what's your mom's name?
Cheryl.
Has Cheryl realized that this isn't just a phase.
Oh yeah. No, I am so locked in, and they're 100% behind me now. And
That's cool.
it's really cool to have them be like, all right,
Yeah.
let's go get it. My mom especially, she's like, what do you need this week? Sushi events? I'm gonna go book you a sushi event. I'm like, oh,
Nice.
Mom,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
This is incredible.
Yeah. My
And,
mom's
yeah.
funny sometimes. I mean, she still hasn't figured out the app. Has your mom, Josh? Okay, but like we try to explain MelFit to people that aren't, well, you don't have to be techie, but I'm like, Mom, do you get it? Do you understand? Also, I think your mom understands the work, but I don't know if my mom understands the work. Do you understand how much work went into this 40 pages? Like, do you get it? Relationships, interviews, I write articles, Jonathan wrote an article, but yeah.
I cannot imagine. Like, when you look at that, that's a book. Like, it's a magazine. But there's so much content in there, and to, just say, oh, it's a magazine. Cool.
Yeah.
I could not do that.
Yeah.
I could not even remotely do that.
So, two of the hardest things I've ever done, one was to write my nutrition plans. We now have 8, I think. Something like that, and writing that magazine. And the reason that I want to reiterate that you need to tell people what you're doing and you need to ask for help is I had total writer's block on this magazine, and I told Josh I wanted to do it, and guess what I was doing to make this happen? Nothing. Not one single thing. Oh, wait, I was procrastinating.
Ooh.
Yeah, I was procrastinating. And how was this going to happen? It wasn't going to come out of thin air. Mm-hmm. So Josh said, I'm ready for you. What was the words you used, Josh? I've got the outline for you. And I was like, that's like teacher telling you the test is due. I'm like, whoa, crap.
Now I have to produce stuff?
We're
insane.
Doing this? We are, honestly, there's been a couple times, right, Josh? And I've told Josh, I'm transparent. I've told you I'm scared, right, Josh? I'm like, I'm scared. I don't know how. Will you pass? Well, I'm going to grab this really quick. This will interest you. I don't know how this whole thing is going to happen, but I'm freaking scared. But now Josh has told me it's my turn. Okay? This is this is our 7th edition, you guys. This is what the first edition of MelFit Healthy Times look like. Does this look like anything that I would want to show anyone?
This is exactly what I want to see.
Right?
That's incredible.
That's why I told people, always share your story. Always know, I'm writing a book. I haven't started it yet. Do you want to know when I'm going to start it? Is when Josh says the outline is ready. And that's going to be the 3rd scariest thing I've ever done. And do you think my book's going to look like a 2nd grader's notes? Hell to the yeah. So, never give up.
I love
We've
that.
come a long ways. So
I've got whole notebooks exactly like this.
Right,
where it's
samesies.
just pages of nonsense. But
Yeah.
when you look back at it, I'm like,
Yeah.
I can't even read my handwriting here. But that's because my brain's going so
Yeah.
fast, my hand can't keep up.
So I toss things very easily, right, Josh? Josh has seen me because we're moving from there to here. Mm-hmm. And if it makes the cut, this made the cut.
And it should.
This is
This should get
special.
framed.
This made the cut, and this is going nowhere. So
Is that that's the next one, or is that the first one?
this was the first one.
Oh, that needs to get framed. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Put that into actual binding.
Yeah.
Because I want a copy of that.
Thanks. You're welcome to flip through it. So Isaac, it's been amazing chatting with you. We're gonna have Isaac on again. And the one thing that I would love for you guys to do is we're going to include, will you make a mental note of this, Josh? I want to include the book that Isaac quoted. I want to include all of your social media. We want to include your website. And I want you guys to send Isaac a message and ask him when can they sign up for that virtual class.
Oh, okay. So that's my scary thing. Is
Yeah, good. I'm glad. You're welcome.
I need to have that virtual
You're welcome
class
because
done.
the Melfit
It needs to
Army,
be done like 50 years
they
ago.
will. Okay, quick story. Josh and I, when we first started, we started with a website that was a flop. We developed the app. It was going okay, but we really needed nutrition plans because people need to be held accountable. We're on our way to the bridal festival. We spent $800, which we couldn't afford. The money came from my other business. As we're driving over to the bridal festival, I told Josh, I think I'm going to do a bridal boot camp, a 12-week bridal boot camp, and my goal is to sign up how many people? 12 people. I signed up.
On the way to the bridal festival?
On the way to the bridal festival. So we had a list. I talked to people. How many people did I sign up, Josh? I gave it away for free. A plan that now sells for $450 like hotcakes. I gave it away for free. Oh, furthermore, it wasn't written yet. Put that in your pipe and smoke it, Isaac.
That is so incredible. Like, to be like, nope. I'm doing it because I just signed up 12 people and they're expecting this, and yeah, here you go. It's happening.
I was in Cuba and a girl contacted me and said, man, I know that you're not launching.
I'm excited.
So yeah, the scary things are the best things. So yeah. I said, she goes, I know you're not launching this bridal boot camp until Super Bowl Sunday, but I am so excited to start. Could I start a week early, Josh? So I thought, well, this will force me to write this, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm in Costa Rica, or not Costa Rica, but Cuba. My niece is in the Navy there, and every morning I would just, start to put this together. So this girl, we'll call her Tasha, we were always a week in front of Tasha. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So we knew, and she didn't even care if we had recorded the videos for the recipes or anything. She just wanted the hard stuff.
Yep.
So every week we were forced to create the meal plan for Tasha because she was always in front of us, or we were always in front of her.
You needed to be in front
Long
of her.
story short, we also did not have proof of success. I had proof for my brick and mortar studio, but that's a whole nother ball game, right? Mm-hmm. So we needed before and afters. She was probably one of our best before and after pictures. And then for all those 12 people, I gave it away for free, but they gave me what I needed, and I needed that proof of success. I needed those before and after. So if that is something to think about when you're putting together this virtual class. I mean, just always, stay ahead. You get one person to sign up and you are forced to stand at your desk because you're a healthy person, or sit at your desk and you're going to do it. You're going to put together the curriculum, right?
Yeah.
So, it's been so good chatting with you guys. If you are local and soon you guys can purchase Isaac's class virtually, maybe he'll allow somebody listening or watching to do be a guinea pig, kind of a little test drive. And follow Isaac on social media and just watch this guy grow. One thing I really enjoy talking to you, you are educated and you do have a good sense of business. And I think that, your best asset is definitely your charisma, but all those other things will help you too. You're level-headed. Although
I like to think that I am.
Although you've chased shiny objects in your life.
Okay, that's an understatement.
You're level-headed. And Isaac and I are working together on a future project, so stay tuned for that. So
it's going to be exciting.
The one thing that'll happen to you, and your friends might already do this to you, is when people watch you take risks, when people watch you do things that they never in a million years would do because they want to play it safe and work at the post office for 30 years, and the day that they retire, they get a effing cake. Sorry, Mom.
Yeah.
30 years of your life, and you get a freaking cake from Walmart. Then, your friends, when you're an entrepreneur like we are, then every time they see you, they go, so what are you working on next? My husband and I just built this house. I ran into a friend the other day. Guess what he asked me? What are you working on next? That's a freaking compliment. That means we're hustlers. That means
got something
we're go-getters.
in the pipe.
They want to
It's
know,
coming down.
right?
They're like,
What's next?
Tell me the secret sauce. What's coming up next?
Yeah. So, have you ever watched the movie Selena? She's
I think I have.
she lived in Corpus Christi, Mexican American, Tejano singer.
Mm-hmm.
She was shot by her one of her employees. Do you remember hearing about that, Josh? You do? So we are obsessed with Selena. I seriously watched that. I've watched the movie. There's a series. You should watch it. You want to talk about an entrepreneur? You should watch it. But her story, I mean, her life was cut short at like 24 years old. And she reminds me of me. I mean, that girl chased shiny objects. I mean, we actually have a lot in common. She had boutiques as well. I mean, she was like not only a singer, but she wanted to open up a boutique and da-da-da-da. And it's funny because her husband, Chris, is like my husband, Iggy. You know, we're smart, but could possibly be naive because we're so nice.
Yeah.
And honestly, her being naive is in turn what probably got her killed. Because somebody that was working for her embezzled money. But I'll let you watch it. But yeah, her
Definitely check it out.
And the one thing I think about too is, had she not pursued the singing, had she not pursued the boutiques, had she not pursued everything she wanted to do, I mean, she died at 24. Like, that's my biggest thing. It's like, I don't want regrets. Like, I don't want to be that person, that, you just die and nobody has a service for you and no one has anything to say about you. Like, how sad would that be? Like, you want to leave a mark. It's not about money. It's just making a difference, leaving a mark, being a humanitarian, making enough money that you can give back and do more and help other people and hire people.
Yeah. And what was it that you said last time? Your new life is going to cost you your old life. And that's stuck with me because that's been like so forefront in my mind is, I'm trying to hang on to all these things that I used to do and that I used to get joy out of. And it's like, no, something's got to go to make room for the new life. And for me, it was video games.
Yeah.
I loved playing video games.
Josh can relate to that, right?
I loved playing video games, but I don't have time for it. And it sucks me back in every once in a while. And I'm like, this is great. But I'm literally just burning daylight.
Yeah. I've been saying that so much. Here's a quick example. I know it's 11:26. Where do you got to be when?
Oh, no, it's fine. It's another meeting that I can take in the car. But.
We're going to wrap it up pretty soon, but we were in Coeur d'Alene and we ran into our accountant. He works for our accountant. He does the books and, he wanted to buy Iggy a shot. This is real life, you guys. We're walking down the street by the Iron Horse, which to me, it's just like, so, and you know what? To each his own. We walk in there and I see people that I haven't seen for 20 years that I used to party with, right? Mm-hmm. And I felt like I was getting sucked into a black hole. And my other friends were walking around the corner to this nice restaurant where we could have a nice drink and some good food. And I thought, why did I walk in here?
Yep.
Right? And I thought, and I said, when we left, I said, oh, did you see so-and-so? Did you see so-and-so? Those people haven't moved from that bar stool in 20 years. And I said to him, Iggy, your new life is going to cost you your old life. And I said, do you know how easy your old life wants you back? And they will welcome you with open arms. And it is so easy when you get in a funk to roll back into your old life. There they are, sitting on the bar stool wanting to buy you a shot, right? See, whatever it is, whether it's alcohol or drugs or porn or video games or whatever it is. And it was like, I find myself saying that a lot, you know. And if the people in your life aren't serving you and they're not filling up your cup and they're not getting you excited and you know, like when you left here, like I was so amped up about what we talked about, like I could hardly sleep. I was just like, my brain was exploding. But all right, you guys,
hang on, let me do a quick plug for us. So we teach sushi classes. That's our kind of what it boils down to. Our traditional cut and roll class, if it's something that you're interested in, is a 2-hour experience where we come in, we take over your kitchen, teach you all the sushi tips and tricks, skills. We cover sashimi, nigiri, traditional rolls, and specialty rolls over the course of 2 hours. It's a lot of fun. Costs $70 per person, and we take care of everything door to door. All you need to do is show up with an empty stomach, an open mind, and be the host with the most. And if that's something that sounds interesting to you and you want to dive into it, mention that you heard about us on the Mel Fit podcast, and we'll give you a 10% discount on your whole order because we love supporting local, and we want to make sure that you guys are getting the best sushi has to offer. And also, we didn't talk about it, but we're wearing the headbands, and this is like our signature thing. Is everybody has to wear the headbands? And all right, Mel, tell me, how does that headband feel?
I feel like the freaking Karate Kid right now.
I love it. But yeah, we're razor focused on creating sushi experiences that are going to leave your friends and family totally blown away, and leave everyone with an awesome memory and an awesome experience.
Do I get to keep the headband?
Yeah.
Woo-hoo!
That's pretty.
So what's the deal? Did they buy? What's the sushi kit?
So our sushi starter kit's our first product, and it's coming out here. It was supposed to be out already, but contract manufacturers, don't get me started. But it's going to be everything that you need to be successful rolling sushi at home. It's going to come with 5 things. It comes with the chopsticks, soy sauce dish, chopstick rest, bamboo mat, and the headband. Personally, I think the headband's the most important piece because it keeps the hair out of your eyes, keeps the sweat off your brow, and you look devilishly handsome doing it.
I love it. This is like the best logo I've seen.
It's so soft.
It is soft.
And it's just
soft.
It's incredible.
So,
But
all right. Well, this has been awesome.
Yeah,
we
thank
could
you
probably
so much
talk
for having
forever,
me.
so we're going to have to schedule another podcast. Thank you, Josh, for filming this podcast. I don't think we need an edit. Are we pretty good? I think we're good. Boom. No edits. I didn't even know if this guy needed any notes. He's like a natural speaker. It's been amazing connecting, inspiring, and motivating you guys. Share the show, like the show, follow us on YouTube, listen to us on whatever social media platform that you like to listen to podcasts on. And we'll see you guys on the next Melfit podcast. Hope you had a good long walk. Bye. Thanks, Isaac.
yeah, thank you.